Well, welcome to how we grade the Rex Dog trade system. You might have seen this from time to time. We put out grades on how well the system performed that given day on a particular market or ticker. This is basically me going through the article that we released. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll be reading through the article. I'll maybe be adding a few things here and there, but primarily reading through the article. You'll find a link below. Pretty much anywhere that you're listening to this, you'll find a link to the article if you want to read it and get more details. So let's jump right in and let's cover how we grade the Rex Dog trade system. One of the most effective things you can do at the end of a trading session or trading day is to grade your trade system. This isn't how you traded the system. This is how well the trade system did with providing you high probability trades. And more importantly, always understanding your system's risk profile. In this article, in this audio or video, I'll go into detail how we arrive at grading a chart or a ticker, the benefits, the limitations, and how these grades help those adopting the Rex Dog system. This actually goes beyond that too, because if you're trading any system, this will help you. Footnote, I actually wrote every word of this. I did not consult some manic, semi-sentient chat GPT type of AI. I actually wrote every word of this. Maybe in the future I might lean on AI a little bit more, but right now I'm writing this stuff. So we grade the Rex Dog trade system in the following manner. We provide an overall grade. We use the standard alphabetical old school A through F grading system with the addition of a plus or minus. There are no participation grades in the Rex Dog trade system, and it doesn't get a grade just for showing up. Here's generally the philosophy here. Is an A, the trade system aligned perfectly with the market directional bias and momentum and provided clear high probability trades. Probably should be able to properly speak. B, the trade system aligned well with the price action, but there were areas where no clear signal or edge. C, while still profitable, the system didn't provide clear and concise edge. D, the pendulum has swung, and the system puts you on the wrong side of the market more than the right side. And F, the system has utterly failed. Now, the reality of these grades. Since creating the Rex Dog trade system, what I consider one of the best trade systems ever developed on the planet, I've never experienced or had an F grade day. So the system has never failed me since 2018. I would throw up a challenge. I don't have this in the article, but find a day where the system was an F. Just find me a day. And of course, I'd be open to finding that day, and then we would tear apart that day and say, okay, how often do these days happen? Not that there haven't been extremely hard days to trade, but rarely are you wildly out of sync with the market, even in high volatility days, especially if you're using the 4-chart setup. Now, why? Why is that? The reason why is the system is an always in momentum following system. And this is critical. Most trade systems fail because they do not know how to properly define momentum. Momentum is a multi-time frame beast. Here's the key to increase your edge when trading momentum. Take time out as a factor. Now you're fortunate because you trade a system that reverse engineers momentum. You use the 4-chart setup or a derivative if we have no tick charts. So you have a system that properly tracks bias and momentum, and it takes time out as a factor. Once you really understand how big that is, you'll see why it provides you with a tremendous edge. So let's advance here. What are the benefits of the grade? We focus the grade from a day trading perspective. So this is most helpful for traders that are either scalping or swing trading intraday. Now, we'll just go on an aside here. Intraday trading involves trading securities in a single day only during the market's regular business hours. Intraday, that's INTRDAY, trading is when a trader purchases securities with the expectation that it may take longer than a day to reach a profit goal. So we're talking intraday here. This is how we currently grade most of the charts, but we could grade it on any time frame we would like. And that's really the key. We could grade any chart, any ticker, any market on any time frame. It does not require the 4-chart setup, And there is no market ticker time frame that the RexDog system does not provide an edge. Prove me wrong. Send me a chart. I'm asking you, send me a chart where the RexDog trade system does not hold up 80% of the time. I want to see it. You should compare the grade and the best trade setups provided with how you are adopting the RexDog trade system. So I'm speaking directly to members here. Look, when we provide a grade, you should be doing this anyways for your own benefit. You should be grading it because even if it's your own trade system, you want to objectively look at it and see how well is it providing me edge. And I'll share at the end of this article some bonuses and benefits that come from capturing this data over a long term. Let's dive in and let's get into the details of how this grade is actually created. So here is what, and I in the members section, and I'll probably do this on YouTube as well, we're going to share me actually doing this in real time, the process, the procedure, and then how we're going to get to the point of probably automating much of this and automate it in a highly effective fashion. So here are the factors in how we create the grade. One of the first things that we look at is how well did the RD bias rules hold up and for how long. So we know that the RexDog average is the bias indicator. So we look at that and we say, okay, how well did the RexDog average? How did that hold up? And for how long did it hold up? How well did the RD momentum rules hold up and for how long? That includes the indicators and all the rules around momentum and how you trade momentum. How well did the high probability patterns perform? How well did the low probability patterns perform? And how well did the confirmation patterns perform? So I haven't divvied up the patterns library in high probability, low probability, or confirmation patterns because I just want you to know the patterns. But and we'll identify, we've already identified the high probability and low probability. But this has already been, I've known this for years. There's a high probability patterns, there's low probability patterns, and then there's patterns that confirm these other patterns. So that's how we're creating this grade. It's not after the fact. One question you might have is how discretionary are these questions? Well, of course, there will always be a kind of an art or market experience involved in executing a trade system. And with the RexDog trade system, as with any other one, psychology and mindset are critical to successful trading. Art, market experience, mindset, and psychology play zero role in how well the system performs. Let me say that again. Art, market, experience, mindset, and psychology play zero role in how well the system performs. This is completely objective. When I do these grades, I don't want to get an A grade. I don't care what the grade is. I want to objectively see how well the system performed, because if it's not performing, it needs adjustment. So for instance, on an A day, your ability to read and trade the market should be much easier than a C- day. But that isn't the full story. These grades assume the trader can trade the system or trades the system with conviction, trust the chart, and can effectively manage their emotions to trade. Yes, I said use your emotions. You can't trade like a robot. We're humans. So it's impossible because we're emotionally based beings. So to recap, the grade is not how easy it is to trade the system that day. The grade is how well the rules, the patterns, and risk profile of the RDTS performed. Now let's move on to the risk profile. And this is going to be one of the most important things that I mention here in this video. And for those that are listening, and I'm deviating off the script a little bit, for those that are listening, especially alphas and people that adopt the system, understanding this core concept is one of the reasons why you have tremendous edge with the system that you trade. Let's talk about risk profile. This revelation is something I haven't really previously stated, at least not publicly. Have you ever wondered why you don't see or hear me constantly rail on about risk, stop losses, and even asinine concepts like risk versus reward ratio? Here's why. Risk, and specifically limited risk, is baked into the RexDog trade system. This is so underappreciated because I can almost guarantee most of those that are hearing me say this right now, You haven't fully evaluated other trading systems or trading styles to the extent I have. And I'm not being arrogant. I'm just saying that this is my passion. This is my life. This is what I do. Even today, I analyze other trade systems that I come across. So for example, I bet most people take indicators like the MACD or RSI at face value. Sure, you might have looked at a few of the derivatives of how they're used or custom takes on the indicator, but I bet very few have systematically taken apart those the way that I have. Meaning, you looked at it, you see how is it taught, and then you do the exact opposite. So you look at an indicator and say, okay, how is it taught to be used? Let me do the exact opposite. And then let me go even further. And let me go down the rabbit hole of custom values and custom indicator elements to using this indicator. Now, I'm not trying to appear arrogant or highlight that I'm special. I'm not. At least that's. I mean, my mom told me I'm always special, and Dad did before that one time he didn't come back from getting cigarettes. I'm just providing context to why I don't consistently harp on risk or risk management. The RexDog trade system at its core is about revealing to you on a chart where to look for high probability reaction areas. I'll say that again because it's important. The RDTS at its core reveals to you on a chart where to look for high probability reaction areas. These areas either go in our expected direction or they don't in a relatively quick amount of time. Your attention is focused on these exact areas of the chart where trades either work or they don't. The power of the indicators, the rules, and the patterns that you use in the RexDog system tell you what trades to take where the risk is minimal. You are not trading in high risk areas. You are trading in what 80% of the time are reliable zones. At a minimum, the trade almost always moves in your expected direction before it fails. That's why when you trade the system on almost every defined reaction area or zone, you see a reaction. You're not trading in arbitrary areas. If there's one thing that you've heard or heard in this video or audio or in this page that you're reading, let that sink in, especially if you're an alpha. Now, I don't think you'll see this on any other trading site. I get it. Most won't appreciate how truly unique what I just shared is in the world of trading. If you don't, and I'm not saying this for my praise or to hype up the system, but take time to reflect on what I just shared. Other trade systems talk a good game, but they almost all cannot be traded effectively beyond their creators because most other trade systems look for trades in arbitrary areas. And here's the kicker. Because at their core, these trade systems allow trades in these arbitrary zones, every trade in this system are always 50-50. If you haven't realized this yet, let me be very clear. I'm not trying to convince you. I already benefit from the trade system I developed. Now that I stream so much, I prove that every single day. If you understand what I just shared, that's why we can actually grade the RDTS separately from a trader that executes it. And I'll go a little bit further. You've been self-selected. You might wonder why I don't have testimonials from other traders or alpha members who trade the RDTS. I most likely never will. Not because I couldn't get them. It's because 99% of testimonials that you see of this ilk are utter BS. They don't represent if you can or will trade the system successfully. That testimonial has zero bearing on what is an individualistic approach to adopting the system you are being presented. It's simply there to make you feel warm and fuzzy. It's there to psychologically deal with a valid objection you have when considering buying into a system. I don't want you to be warm and fuzzy. I want you to still join having objections. The only people I want to join and become alphas and become a member and adopt my trade system are those that don't need these false sales techniques. Why? Those others are predisposed to those techniques, and they have very limited chance of actually taking a very special system that I've developed and successfully trading with it. I don't want to deal with them and their issues. And if I can be even more blunt, Those people have mental blocks that fester self-limiting beliefs, and they lack the ability to take the RDTS and make it their own. I believe anybody can be a successful trader, with these caveats. Becoming a successful trader requires grit and the ability to confidently walk your own path. Yes, you might have various guides along the way, those that provide a meal here and there, or those, to use this analogy, someone like me that provides you with a detailed map. In the end, you have to accomplish this journey alone. If on that map there is supposed to be a tree, but because of a recent storm, it is no longer there, the people who adopt my system know how to still find their way. Sure, they might have to analyze the terrain and find other landmarks, but ultimately they will get to the destination. Those others, they'll turn around and they'll probably die in the wilderness because they'll get lost focused on trying to get back so they can tell me that they couldn't find the tree. So let's talk about grading rotting corpses. This is really what we're doing. In hindsight, any YouTube trader can look like an utter genius. Any brilliant social media first trader can trade 2 or more simultaneous accounts and just show you the ones that they profit. They just adopt the tried and true technique mastered by the sports betting gurus that rise and fall to fame like the ocean tide. But there's something more at play here. The elements of the RDTS are not like the myths of every 7th, 9th, 13th wave. I really couldn't figure out what the myth is. If you actually look up wave myths, some people say every 7th or 9th or 13th is the strongest. So that's why I included all those numbers. Consider this. How many times have you seen on a chart where price reacts almost perfectly at the RDA, the Rex Dog average? The only valid answer is it's rather common because you see it quite a bit. Almost too good to believe. To answer otherwise means you haven't really done the analysis yourself. I say this confidently because we can pull up a chart from any market on any time frame and we will see a consistent pattern with the RDA. It provides a solid basis for bias, both short and long, as well as consistently confirms the momentum direction and acts as a strong reaction area. Often price stops at the RDA in an area that makes no sense otherwise, at least not from any well-known form of technical analysis that I can find that exists. The same axiom holds for various degrees on the other indicators, rules, and patterns that we use in the RDTS. This leads us to the real value and benefit of taking the time and effort to create these grades. You could almost look at these grades as like a diploma. But isn't a diploma just a fancy piece of paper? Sure, but it's the value others place in what that diploma represents. It's how you leverage that diploma that really matters. The grade we provide has value in the following way. As objectively as possible, assess the trade system on a consistent basis. Provides insight so the trade system can be consistently improved. Reinforce the fundamentals of trading the system as it's designed. Provide you with additional examples on how to use the indicators, the rules, and the patterns to increase your edge. And the final thing is it allows us to capture a consistent database of stats that is more valuable than any backtest method that exists. Successful trading any system is about trading with conviction and risk management. As discussed above, risk management, at least a good portion, is accounted for in every element of the Rex Dog trade system. Conviction, now that's the tricky part. Conviction is only built by belief. Belief is only built by trust. Trust is only built by consistency. Let me say that again. Conviction is only built by belief. Belief is only built by trust. And trust is only built by consistency. By following the grades, you are adding one more element of consistency you see play out time and time again when adopting the RDTS. That consistency is a pattern. The more you see and consume charts graded with the RDTS, the more you'll be able to recognize and trade them as you see them unfold in real time. I'll relate this to what we discussed about the RDA. For most people who adopt the system and see how time and time again price reacts at the RDA, you just start to trust it. You start to trade around it and with it. Why? Because it's a pattern you see unfold time and time again. So when you get an opportunity to trade it in real time, you trade it with conviction. Does it always work? No, of course not. But it works way more than it doesn't. Plus, if you manage your trade correctly, you've either made a little bit of profit, broke even, or minimized your loss, because by its very nature, you're trading in an area where risk is tightly defined. I'll end with this.